4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Welcome to Kempsville Elementary School. And as you can see, there's a big male lion sleeping there. And we have Miss Drum's class from Kempsville Elementary. My name is Brent Smith. I have Brian Joubert on camera with me today. And you are on a live African safari. And we're sitting with the Birmingham boys. And so a group of big male lions. So there's one sleeping next to us on the right. And the other 3 are sleeping in the shade around the corner, and we'll go have a look at them shortly. So there are 5 of these male lions who form a coalition. A coalition is like a gang of male lions. So they stay together and they defend the territory together from other male lions. Hello, Sleepy. It's hot today, so it must be around 83 or 84 degrees Fahrenheit. And when it's hot like this, lions like to sleep. Lions are very good at sleeping. They sleep for 20 hours a day. There he is, and you see that big hairy mane? That's there to protect him, to protect his throat and other soft areas when he's fighting with other male lions. These guys went on a marathon march. They must have walked about 10 miles last night. And they were doing that because there was 2 other male lions that came in from the north of us, and they had to go chase them away to protect all their females. Now, these male lions have 2 different groups of females. They have the Nkahuma pride and the Styx pride. So let's go back and have a look at the other guy who's a little bit more in the open. We can get a bit closer to him. Doesn't he look comfortable? Snoozing. There's very few animals that can make a male lion move when he's snoozing like this. And the one is elephants. So elephants are the true king of the jungle, so to speak. Are bigger, stronger, and can chase the lions. The only other thing is if a potential prey species happened to stumble in them, like a big herd of buffalo happened to walk into the area where they were sleeping, they might try to catch one. So it seems like Kempsville's having a little bit of difficulty getting their video monitor or whatnot set up. So we just looked at another lion over there, and Paul is wondering if it's mange on its belly. I don't think it's mange, Paul. It looks maybe like a fungal infection. And I've seen sarcoptic mange in animals before, and that doesn't look to be the same. It might be a different form, but I don't think so, and it is getting better quite quickly. And if we have a look at his schnoz, you can see lots of little scars. Oh, look, he's falling asleep. Vic would like to see the 5th Birmingham boy. Vic, unfortunately, he's to the north of us, outside of our traverse area, so we're not going to be able to see the 5th Birmingham boy today. You can see all the little snicks and scratches and scars on his schnoz. Oh, he's getting comfortable. Now, you'll often find lions do that, specifically when it's hot. It's to help them cool down, get the cool breeze over their stomach area. So I'm hoping that these lions get up and are moving later on. And while we wait in anticipation for these lions to do something interesting, let's go across to Sam so he can bid you a fine afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone, to the northeast of South Africa. We are here at Djuma. It's myself and Dave, and we've just come down to Djuma Pan, where we can see 3 buffalo bulls that are just sitting here. You can see that the dam is slowly drying up as the winter season begins to come closer, and we know in the winter season we don't have as much rain as we should have had in the summer season. So we can see here these 3 buffalo bulls, old Duggar boys, are sitting here taking in as much of the grass as they can on this very, very hot day. And we know the lions are about. Brent is with the lions. I think he's with one of the Birmingham males, which is just around 300 meters or 400 meters. Actually, no, let's make that 600 meters to the west of us. So there's any chance this evening that we might be able to see lions on buffalo this evening. Anything can happen, as we know, in the bush. This is a live safari, so if you have any questions today, please hashtag SafariLIVE on Twitter and questions at wildearth.tv for email. So we'd love to hear what you want to see today, what you've enjoyed on your Earth Day. I would love to see some of your pictures from your plants. Send them to us, and we would love to have a look at them. We've done some things in our camp, which we'll be showing you a bit later in terms of Earth Day and what we've been trying to do. But let's have a look at these buffaloes. You can see that they've got quite a lot of mud on top of them. Wow, so they've been inside that mud, and it's been really, really hot today. I think it went up to about 34 degrees Celsius a bit earlier, and you can imagine all these animals have been coming towards the watering hole and trying to get as much mud on them as possible to cool themselves down. But we know through the winter season that a number of animals are going to be coming down to this watering hole. So the competition's going to get big, aggression is going to build, predators are going to make their way down here. Excitement for WildEarth is going to be on new levels. So the winter season coming is going to bring a lot of joy to the bushveld and also a lot of pain. But it's all part of the experience. It's not new. Every year, every 10 years or so, we do experience droughts, and that's just the way it works out in the natural world. With that, myself and Dave and all of you are going to be heading in a direction towards Buffelshoek, and we're going to see if we can see the large herd of buffaloes that are presently, well, they were presently there when I was driving there this morning. So we've just seen a couple of Duggar boys, and we're going to head off to Buffelshoek to see what we can find. Potentially a number of buffaloes, but also a hippopotamus, and hopefully with some terrapins on the back of the hippo. But myself, I would really like to see a giraffe today. But with that, let's just go see what Brent's up to. If he's with the lions, enjoy the sighting of the Birmingham.
So even though a big male lion is something quite impressive and stands out, if we just move a little bit further back like we've done now, and we have a look, see there, imagine you were just walking down the road and weren't paying attention too much. You would barely spot him, even though he's lying relatively out in the open. There he is. So you can see how that coloration does. He maybe looks like a bit of a termite mound, a little small termite mound, maybe a log. He's about as active as a log at the moment. So, hi, Ember. Ember is 6 years old, and Ember would like to know how old these lions are. Ember, they're about 6 years old. They're the same age as you. Isn't that nice? You and the Birmingham boys are the same age. They are coming into their prime. A lion's best years are between about 6 and 9. Oh, there's another one rolling, putting his belly in to get some nice cool wind. So James Henry's old hat would like to know, well, if the Salati males didn't call, is it possible they could mate with the females and then just leave before the Birmingham boys would arrive? Well, it's unlikely, being that they are the dominant coalition to the north of here. So calling is sort of what a male lion does. And he's programmed to advertise the fact that he is the boss. And they will call quite incessantly sometimes. So it seems like Kempsville Elementary is back. Hi, Kempsville Elementary and Miss Drum's class. So welcome to SafariLIVE, and glad you guys are with us now after a little bit of technical difficulties. I don't understand much about technical difficulties, but fortunately I do know a little bit about lions, and that's where we are with some big male lions. So let's take you for a closer look. So there's one sleeping in the shade there. And then there are 3 sleeping over there. Let's get a little bit closer. So these lions are our dominant male lion coalition. So this is our dominant group of lions, and they control the whole area that we traverse, or that we drive in. And they've got 2 different groups of girls, the Inkahuma Pride and the Styx Pride. Hello, big boy. So Katie would like to know if any of the animals here are contained, or are they all free roaming? Katie, they are free roaming. We are part of a 9 million acre open system that is just for animals. Yevon would like to know how much rain we get here. Now, Yevon, we are having a very dry year at the moment. We're in a bit of a drought. We've only had about 200 or so millimeters, maybe just over 200 millimeters. Normally, we get around 450 millimeters a year. So we've had about half of what we normally do. But drought's not a bad thing. Sometimes it can be a good thing. It helps to make sure all the animals are very healthy. So from the other animals like buffalo and elephant and impala, only the strongest will survive these dry periods, and therefore they're very strong genetic stock going forward. And if you're a lion, it's the best time because the animals are easier to catch. Well, Braden would like to know whether some of the animals make their habitat in the water. They do, but definitely not these guys. So we have hippos that live in the water, and crocodiles also live in the water. Speaking of water, Braden, we'll go have a look. There's a waterhole just ahead. These lines aren't going anywhere, and we can always come back to them. So Chase would like to know, what are the temperatures at this time of the year? Chase, we're sort of towards the end of summer, so our hottest period is over, and that's about, so the temperatures are around mid-80s to 90s Fahrenheit during the heat of the day. Like now is about 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and in the mornings it's probably around 60. But we will go down a little bit colder than that to probably around 50 Fahrenheit during the height of our winter, or maybe a little bit colder. But generally nice and warm all year round, and I'm not a big fan of being cold, so I like it when it's hot. Yasmin would like to know, do we rescue or nurse any of the baby animals? No, we don't, Yasmin. This is a wild area. So if a baby is hurt or loses its mommy, we leave it for the lions and leopards. So we don't want to interfere. This is nature at its most pure. So it's not our place to rescue and save animals. Oh, there's an animal. He's a wildebeest. So he might look a little bit like a cow, but he's not. He's an antelope. That is a male wildebeest. And this will be his territory, and he will guard his territory from other boys, and then the females move from different boys' territories. Okay, the wildebeest walking away from the lions. Now, can we see any of our water-dwelling animals? You might see a hippo, but it might be a little bit far away. So there's the water hole down there, but I can't see anything in it. So why don't we go across to Sam, who's at a different water hole.
Good afternoon, Kempville Elementary, Mrs. Drum, and all you wonderful kids. It is Dave behind camera, and my name is Sam Chevalier. And we are here with some plants on Earth Day. We thought that we would quickly show you some plants while it is Earth Day. So, the tree that we have over here is called an apple leaf tree. If you grab the leaf of the tree and you crunch it in your hands, it sounds like an apple, like you're crunching an apple in your mouth. So you crunch that apple, it sounds like that. That is the apple leaf tree. And over here, we have a silver cluster leaf tree. So this tree isn't the best tasting tree you'll ever meet. If you take a bite, it has a whole bunch of tannins in it, so it makes your mouth very, very sour. And sour is the wrong word. It makes it just not taste nice at all. And why do they make it not taste nice? So that the animals don't eat it. So there's all sorts of defenses out here that plants might have, and they're very, very clever indeed, all the plants out here to survive until they are here today. But it is Earth Day today, and it's all about learning a little bit more about this planet. Some of the plants that we have, Memphis is asking what kind of trees are there here. Memphis, there are a number of different trees. You get round-leaf ticks, you get bush willows, you get big brown ivories, which like to grow on the termite mounds. And if you know what a termite mound is, a type of almost looks like an ant, but it likes to eat wood and bark. And those trees like to grow on those termite mounds. You also have beautiful trees called balanites, which otherwise known as the torchwood. So it looks like it's been grown, like flutes have been grown around the tree, which is actually where, here's one as we're coming up. This tree over here is a beautiful tree. It's on a termite mound, as you can see. You'll find a number of trees on termite mounds. And this seems to be a jackalberry, if I'm mistaken. This is an incredible, incredible tree to come across in the bushveld. You'll often find a leopard lying in this tree with a kill. Zoe's asking me if the animals have ever hurt me whilst driving. You know what, Zoe, I've been okay so far. You have to be very, very careful out here because you do get big animals like the elephant and hippo. When you come across an elephant and a hippo, it's always important to be very, very careful and just be cautious. Keep your distance and view them from a distance. That's what you should do when you see the big animals, Zoe. But it is Earth Day today, and I think it's important that we understand our plants a little bit better. So I made a little thing over here where you can learn about creating your plants. It's Earth Day, so all you have to do is put your soil inside this plastic container. You can put your seed in here, and then you can make your own tree. So Kempville Elementary, see if you can take waste and put seeds inside there, and you can grow your own indigenous plants at your school where you are. So there's a number of different predators that you can see here, duck. I've seen a wild dog. Me and Dave, who's on camera at the moment, were sitting with wild dogs the other day, which are incredible predators to watch, as well as lions, as you saw a bit earlier with Brent. And you also get the infamous leopard that likes to sit in the trees, store predators, very secretive predator that we get out here in the bush. But those are our main ones. We also get the cheetah, but the cheetah really likes the big open areas, and it's very difficult to see them unless you are very quiet and you look for them through the open areas and you walk slowly but surely. So those are some of our main predators that we get out here in the bushveld. What are the main predators that you get there? I'd love to know. Yasmund is asking, is there anything that is edible in the wild? For sure, there are all sorts of edible things that you can eat in the bush. I'm actually busy looking for one at the moment. There's one that you can eat, it's called a buffalo thorn, which you can put into your mouth, and it tastes like spinach. So I love to grow spinach where I live back in home in Cape Town, and you can eat it and it tastes a little bit like spinach. So if things are getting difficult out in the bushveld and you need something to eat, you can go and get that leaf. But also you can open up the plants, go down towards the root systems, and there's a number of roots that will give you water and nutrients that you might need if things get difficult out here in the bush. There's also lots of berries that you can get. What's really, really important is that if you do go try some of your fruits and your berries and trying to taste some of the things out in your wilderness, go out with your parents, your mom and your dad, learn a little bit more about your ecology before you just put things in your mouth. Very, very important, because sometimes you might eat something that is toxic, and if you eat something toxic you might get very sick. So please be careful, but enjoy those wonderful tasting fruits and berries. So the road now, is this where we find a cheetah? So we're going to try and find it. Rebecca, please can you go back with that question? Tatum's asking, do any of the animals have quite weird sleeping patterns? Yes, many animals have very, very weird sleeping patterns, such like the giraffe. I've never really seen a giraffe sleep. You're very lucky if you get to see that. Elephants, they feed for over 22 hours a day, so they maybe sleep for just 2 hours in a day, and they will most of the time stand up and sleep If you are incredibly lucky, you'll get to see a whole bunch of elephants lying down and sleeping. So I haven't seen that before, but hopefully one day I'll get the privilege of looking at sleeping elephants. Wow. Carmen's asking, what are the attack skills of a giraffe and what do they do? Well, Carmen, that's a fantastic question. They are incredible creatures, the giraffe. They actually have these big horns on top of their head called ossicones, and they will go up to other males. So mostly the males fight against each other, and that is one way that you can tell the difference between a female and a male giraffe, is that on top of the heads of giraffes, you'll see a male doesn't have any fur on its ossicones, and the female has lots of fur on top. And the males will fight with their heads against the other males to show dominance out here in the bush. So there's lots of ways in which they'll defend themselves. A group of hippos is what Joseph's asking. It's a float of hippos is a group of hippos. With that, let's go and see how Brent's doing.
Welcome, welcome. Now, we've left those lines because they're just snoozing. We can go there a bit later if you would like. But we thought we'd show you some of the other animals we get out here. And there is a magnificent kudu bull. So it's a big male kudu. And he's standing in the shade because it's hot. And you can see those big horns. Now, in America, you guys have deer. And a deer is different from an antelope. Now, an antelope, his horns don't fall off. So his horns are stuck there for his whole life, and if it breaks, they don't grow back. Whereas a deer, they grow their horns every year. Or their antlers, not horns, they are antlers, and they fall off. So they only have their antlers for when they have to fight for the breeding season, and then they fall off for the rest of the year. Whereas an antelope, his horns will stay there for his whole life unless he breaks them, and then they won't grow back. This is a nice big male. So Grayson's wondering how I got this job and what kind of education did I need for that. So we're going to keep moving past the kudu. I'm hoping we can find you an elephant before the end of safari because they're so big and wonderful. So Grayson, I'm very lucky I got this job because I've grown up in the African bush. So I've been living in the bush since I was younger than you. And my family have been in the safari industry for a long time. And my education is I went to high school, and after high school, my education has been from all the different people I've learned from. So my education started when I was your age, spending time with lots of guides and trackers, and going out into the bush every day was my education for being able to do this job. And I'm very lucky because I do what I love, and I live in the middle of the African bush, and I couldn't think of a better place to live. Linnea would like to know whether it's mating season for elephants. Now, Linnea, elephants don't have a specific mating season, but currently there are quite a lot of females who are in estrus. When a female's in estrus, it means it's time to mate with the bigger boys. Now, the boys have to be in must, so it's one of the few animals when both of them have to be in a heightened hormonal situation for them to mate. So there are quite a few, but elephants can mate throughout the year. They don't only mate at specific times. Memphis would like to know if I've seen tigers. Memphis, I haven't been lucky enough to see tigers yet, but it is one of the animals on my list. But of course, tigers don't live in Africa. They live in Asia and India, and they live all the way to even in Russia. So I will hopefully one day get to see a tiger in the wild, but I haven't seen one yet. Now, Kimberly's wondering if I've seen animals fight each other. And I've been very lucky, and I've been in the bush a very long time. And I've seen lots of different animals fight. I've seen male cheetah fight each other. I've seen male lions fight each other. I've seen male elephants fight each other. I've seen female lions fight each other. I've seen female leopards fight each other. And impala and kudu. Yes, I've seen lots of things fight each other. Now, the reason most animals fight, there's two main reasons. One is competition over females, and the other is competition over territory. So that's the two main reasons why animals would fight. And both of those are connected. To have a good territory means you're going to have a lot of females, but so it's both, they're pretty much the same thing, fighting for territory and for females. But in certain cases, females will also fight, and that's only really true with the predators, and females will fight each other for territory, and that's for a safe area to bring up their cubs or pups. Well, Brenna would like to know, have the animals ever broken the camera? So I'm going to let Brian, who's my cameraman, answer that for me. So Brian, have the animals ever broken your camera?
Nope, not yet, thankfully. They've come close, but they haven't quite touched it. So we've been good.
I think the closest that's come to doing any serious damage to the camera is probably a dung beetle. It's a big beetle, and when we're driving a little bit quickly and but occasionally, yeah, I think that's about the only thing. We don't like to touch the animals or get too close to the animals. We can get very close, but we don't want to make the animals uncomfortable that they might feel like we're a threat to them. So we always try to be respectful of their comfort zones. Now, a little bit earlier, there was a big elephant bull down here somewhere. So Joseph is wondering what plants are dangerous. I'll see if I can find one for you, Joseph. Now, this is a very important thing to you guys. If you do go out into the wild in America to your parks and stuff, don't just eat any berry, because you could get very sick from eating the wrong type of berry. But we have a few dangerous plants here, and some of them are just dangerous because they hurt, like this acacia tree here. So you can imagine if you stand on one of those thorns, sometimes they're strong enough to go through your shoe. And big thorns of an acacia. But then other plants are dangerous if you eat them. Now, we've got certain plants that have a white, milky latex in them that are very, very poisonous, but you can use them as well. So traditionally, a lot of some of the poisonous plants are used as medicine. So tambuti tree, I'll try to find one for you guys, but we're a bit far from the river. They normally grow near the river. And if you take that white, milky latex from a tambuti tree and you put it on warts or verrucas and things like that, it actually kills them. So sometimes the poisonous plants can also be your friend. Where did that big elephant go? I think he's going to be around here somewhere. Now, Kendall would like to know, what do I use for protection when I'm out and about? Kendall, I use my brain. That's the best form of protection. We don't carry any firearms or anything. And even if I'm walking through the bush, I still don't carry a firearm. I trust my bush knowledge and my experience to be able to keep myself and my cameraman safe. So Havan would like to know, how tall does a giraffe grow? Now, I know in meters, which is a bit of a problem for you guys, so I'm going to just try to figure it out quickly and put it into feet for you. So I will get back to you in a second, Havana, trying to do maths, which I'm not very good at. So there was that elephant bull, a big hairy bull I saw when I was on the way from my house to collect the car, and he was standing right here. So I think he might be in the shade of one of these big marula trees. I'm going to see if we can see his footprints if he crossed the road. That's how we find lots of animals out here. We look for their footprints. So I saw him walking up the road here, but I don't see him now. So let's see if we can find his footprints and then follow his footprints to there. So I don't see any footprints here. So, oh, maybe he did cross the road. There we go. There is footprints. So big Ellie footprints. They're not, these ones aren't the easiest to see, but there we go. Got them. There we go. So let's go see if we can find this elephant from his footprints. So Havan, the tallest a giraffe can get is about 19 feet long. So it is the tallest living land mammal, or animal, in fact. And the second tallest is probably an elephant. So hopefully he hasn't gone too far. So, you spot him yet, Brian? Not yet. So Chance is wondering how fast cheetahs are. They're very fast, Chance. They're the fastest land mammal. They get up to about 120 kilometers an hour, which I think is 60 miles an hour, more or less. But they have incredible acceleration. They can go from 0 to about 50 miles an hour in just a few short seconds. Okay, we're on the hunt. We're following the elephant's footprints to see if it leads us to the elephant. So those lions we saw earlier, that's how we found them. We followed their footprints till we found them. Now, Carmen's got a great question. Carmen would like to know what causes the hyena to laugh. Hyenas have got lots of different calls, and the most common call we hear from a hyena is a whoop. And it goes, well, there's lots of different whoops, but it sounds something like this. Or, but that maniacal cackling, I can't do it. Can you do it, Brian? No, Brian can't do it either. But that hyena laughing, it's excitement, so generally danger or food or excitement. It's when they're very excited, whether they're scared or angry, that causes them to make those very high-pitched, sort of high-pitched giggles is the best way to describe them. Now, Eddie is trying to give us the slip. So while we keep looking for the big elephant, let's see what Sam's up to.
Grayson wants to know what you should study in order to become a guide out here in the bush. You know, Grayson, to be honest, follow exactly what you feel is, you know, in terms of you find interesting. What do you find interesting when you're studying at school? Is it geography? Is it biology? Whatever it is, follow it up, grow into yourself, and then you'll find a way in which it'll fit into the university or study that you can do. And in South Africa, there's a number of things that you can do. There's a path that you can take within conservation at university. Go and study biological conservation. You can go into biomimicry and learn about ecological systems and the intelligence of nature. You can go into eco-training here in South Africa and for Gaza, which are registered programs where you can learn about bush knowledge out here in the African savannah. So it's all dependent, Grayson, on kind of what you really enjoy out of life, what gives you that kick, and follow that dream of yours, and then allow it to connect to the bush, allow it to make its value here. So for me, it's very different to some other people. Hanson is asking if I have been bitten by anything. Hanson, thankfully I have not been bitten by anything, but I have been bitten by a thorn. So a very big thorn, which I believe you would have seen with your Brent, which is called the acacia thorn. It's very, 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 very sharp. Oh my word, Brent's got warthogs. Let's go and see what he's doing.
Well, we didn't find the warthog, the elephant, but we found another grey animal who's got big teeth, and we found the warthog. There are a little family of warthogs. There's 2 females there, and 3 babies that were born earlier this year. 4 babies. Mrs. Drum would like to know whether we have a cell phone with us, and does it work, and what happens if we get a flat tire. Well, we do have cell phones, but they don't work most places in the reserve. We have radios that we can talk to the different vehicles and to each other on, but if we get a flat tire, that's up to us to fix it. I actually had one this morning. So we have a spare on the vehicle, and we just change it, and then we get the tire fixed. And there go the warthog family. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have watched the movie The Lion King. Although it is a very entertaining movie, it's not a very factual movie. So, warthogs are not friends with meerkats, and we don't have any meerkats here. The closest thing to a meerkat we have here is a mongoose. But, so Pumbaa also is definitely not friends with the lions. If Pumbaa's not careful, Pumbaa will become the lion's dinner. So Yasmin would like to know if I've ever been in quicksand. Well, Yasmin, I've been stuck quite a few times in mud, and what you can call similar to quicksand. There's no such thing as real proper quicksand that you'll sink into and not be able to get out of. Those are only in Indiana Jones movies, I think. Ooh, you got attacked by a stick. But we do get stuck in the mud and in sand from time to time. But I've never been in a sort of muddy or sandy thing that I think I'm going to disappear under it. The closest thing to that is in the Makgadikgadi salt pans in Botswana. And there, you can sink a car, but you yourself will be able to, you're not as heavy, get out of it. Jasmine also would like to know if I've been chased by a stampede. I've been in quite a few stampedes, Jasmine, but generally when we're in the car, even if you're on foot, the stampede will go around you. They won't actually stampede over you. The only animal that might is an elephant, and you definitely don't want to be stuck in front of an elephant stampede. But still, in those circumstances, it's your experience that helps you get out of them. So quite often you can just stop them when they're running at you by clapping and shouting. But most important thing you must do is never ever run away. If you run, the animal will chase you. So you have to try be brave and stand or even run towards the animal if it's coming at you. Mrs. Jernigan would like to know, what are the major problems that we face in terms of conservation and looking after the bush? So, of course, at the moment, the poaching's always an issue, but if we look at it from a grand scale, poaching's quite a minor issue. It's very localized or very species specific. So probably the biggest threat to African wildlife is loss of habitat. So a lot of these animals need big areas to live in, and the way the human race is expanding and eating up resources is probably the biggest issue when it comes to wildlife. So I'm hoping that elephant maybe did a loop down to a water hole, so we're just going to have a quick look. Chance would like to know, what is the most dangerous animal in South Africa? Well, that, without a doubt, Chance, is the human being. By far the most dangerous animal, but if you're talking about a wild animal, the one that probably you have to be the most careful of is elephants. And if you're not careful, you can get yourself into trouble with elephants. But outside of elephants, it's definitely human beings. So while we continue to search for this elephant that is giving me the runaround, let's go see what Sam's up to.
We have just been talking about what animals are scary to see. I tell you what, these ones aren't the scariest of animals to see. They are rather very beautiful. The waterbuck. We can tell it's a waterbuck by the clear circle on the backside of that female that we are seeing in our screen right now. There's the most magnificent male that was just walking with the females. I haven't seen horns like it for a while, and I really would like to show you that wonderful male. It looks like he's just gone out into the distance. It was sad. Where is he? Oh, he is here. Okay, let me just see if I can get a better position to see those horns of that male. He was huge. There he is. Wow. That is a big set of horns. Wow, those are really, really big horns. And those horns will look after this big male to protect it from the other males and actually display dominance. So the reason why he's here with these females is because he is the strongest male out of the other males that are around the area. So he's looking after his harem of females as he grazes here. And those horns are very big indeed. And you'll see there's a big difference between these horns and the ones of the kudu and the inyala, which hopefully we'll get to see a little bit later. But today is a special day because we are off to Cheetah Plains. It is my first time. So there's around 52 million people that live in Southern Africa. I myself live in Cape Town. Dave the cameraman, where do you live? Johannesburg. So I live in the very, very, very south of South Africa, right by the coast at a beach called Hout Bay. That is where I grew up and had a good time. And David, the cameraman, was from Johannesburg, which is about 6 hours from where we are. We are in the north part of Southern Africa. So that is where we are from. We live in a camp in the reserve. So there's about 15 to 22 of us at any given stage. Very, very different all the time. All from different backgrounds, from film to bush experience. So that's where we live, in a camp just in the middle of the Sabi Sands. It's fantastic. It is really fantastic. The Sabi Sands is about 60,000 hectares, so it's really big. Dak is asking if I've ever seen a monkey. Wow, Dak, I've seen quite a few monkeys in my time. We actually just saw some baboons, myself and Dave. They ran right past us and into the thicket. They are really scary looking monkeys. They have big, big teeth. They're almost like leopards with the teeth structure that they have. So you've always got to be quite careful of the baboons. You get them in Cape Town and you get them in the bush, but they're a lot more scared of humans when they're out in the bush here because they've been shot for many years, the baboons. So we're very lucky on this property to see baboons. We also get the vervet monkey, which is also a very, very beautiful monkey that we get here on the reserve. But what's exciting is that we're off to the other part of the reserve where we get very different animals. As I said, the flat open areas gives room for the cheetah to move around as well as the ostrich. So hopefully we'll get to see an ostrich, which is one of the biggest birds in the world. Memphis is asking if I've ever seen a kangaroo. You know, Memphis, I've never made my way to Australia. That's where the kangaroos are, so I would love to see kangaroos one day when I get there. Have you seen kangaroos, Memphis? Very, very cool animals. They have a nice pouch where they put their youngsters in the pouch. looking forward to seeing that one day. But where I am from the Cape, we get very, very different animals. Joseph's asking, how do giraffes fight? So we are having that. We started that conversation a little bit earlier. The males are they become very dominant when the females are coming into estrus, which means that they're ready to have a child, or to have a calf rather, and so the males will fight each other by swinging their necks into the other male, and that's why their horns are thinner than that of a female, because the males will intertwine and knock each other. So that is a very, very exciting male fighting. Is asking, what are the trees that the giraffe likes to eat from? It really they tap around the. It's not going to injure them because their tongues are so thick that their blood vessels are right in the middle of the tongue, so they don't injure the tongue of the giraffe when they eat the big thorns. So that is one of the trees that the giraffe likes to eat. I wouldn't like to eat that, as my tongue would bleed a lot if I tried to eat the acacia tree. But there's a number of different trees that they like to eat out here. And as I said, different trees. Just checking, are there any cars? You've always got to look left and right when you come to another road. Sure, your parents have taught you that. Oh, you're at America, so it's right to left, not left to right. So when you get to a new street, you go right, left, or right. It's so strange. I can't imagine driving a car in America. So we drive on the other side of the road in Southern Africa. So I'd be sitting over there if I was driving in America. So in South Africa we drive like this, and it's the same in England. So worlds apart, Southern Africa to America, but all the same nonetheless. And I can't wait one day to come and see your animals. I've only seen the animals in America a few times, and there are some truly beautiful animals, especially the cougar. I'd love to see that animal and track it in its wilderness. I've had the privilege of seeing a jaguar in South America and the leopard in South Africa, and I would love to come and see the cougar in America. Hopefully that time will come. Ooh, we have a hornbill just over here. You can't see it right now. It just went behind a bush. I'm just going to try. Oh, you can. It's over there, but it's in the shade. So I'm going to see if I can get a better position. The hornbill is a very iconic bird. There it flies. Okay, so I'll go a little bit further away. There he is. So let's see if we can get a shot of the hornbill. Ooh, there he is. It is a yellow-billed hornbill. In the middle of your screen, you'll just catch him over there. You get the yellow-billed and you get the red-billed hornbill. They look exactly the same, but the bills are very, very different. Oh, beautiful. I'm so glad we got to see the hornbill. It's a very iconic bird in Southern Africa. And they have a very interesting relationship with mongoose. Guys, I would love to visit you. I would love to come visit you. We can go and look for all the little plants and froggies and all the little different stuff that you get in America. I would love to come and see that. But it's been fantastic talking about all these different things, but there's an elephant. So let's go and see how that elephant is.
So we followed that elephant's footprints. I wasn't going to let him get away, and I really wanted to show you guys a big elephant. So here we go. It's a young Eddie bull. He's probably around 30 years old. Now, elephants can live for a long time like people. Elephants can live to about 60 years old. There he is. Oh, he's maybe a bit older than 30. Hello, big boy. And he's only got one tusk. He's broken the other one. I'm just going to try get ahead of him so we can have a look at him. Hello, big man. Here he is. Nice elephant bull. Now, they weigh about 6,000 kilograms. The heaviest land mammal we have. Oh, did he smell something nice to eat? He could be tracking females with his nose, smelling them. So they can, there we go, they weigh over 12,000 pounds. Massive animal. So he weighs far more than the car I'm driving. And they can get up to 13 foot tall. Isn't that big? So only the giraffe at about 19 feet is bigger than him. This guy doesn't look too relaxed, so we're not going to go too close to him, but we will still keep following him for a little bit. So, elephants occur in Africa, and then a different species of elephant occurs in India and Asia. So we have an Asian elephant and an African elephant. Now, there's two variations on the African elephant. There's the African bush or savanna elephant that we're looking at now, and then you get a slightly smaller guy who lives in the forests called the forest elephant. So and a big elephant like that can eat around 250 kgs. So what's that? It's about 800 pounds, 900 pounds of food in a day, and drink about 20 gallons of water. There he is. So as we get one last view of him as he moves through the bush, it's been a pleasure having Mrs. Drum's class with us on safari today, and that is from Kempsville Elementary. So from all of us here at SafariLIVE, don't forget to join us again soon. And you don't have to be at school to watch SafariLIVE. You can join us anytime. And there's Brian's thumb. What is the thumb today?
A tree for Earth Day.
It's a tree for Earth Day. Yay for Brian's thumb. So bye, guys. Have a good time. And we're going to go across to Sam to continue the show.
So we've sat with a community spider nest before, but here we have another one, and it's so great when you see a community spider nest in the sunlight like this, and it's almost like a big painting that's been painted, because there's a number of different things that's happening in this nest. And it seems to be an old nest, because I can't see any of the spiders here this afternoon, but what we can see is a number of different species that have been caught in it over time. So let's have a look and see what we can find. Over here, I have no idea what species or insect that is, but it's quite big. Can you imagine what it's like? You're busy on your afternoon, next thing you know, you're stuck inside a net. Not the coolest thing you can have on your Friday afternoon. We've got some flies inside there. well, there really is a ridiculous amount of different animals in here. And there's another one just above it. There's a big fly that's been caught in here. So it's incredible to learn a little bit more about how these nests are so powerful in collecting all the different things out here in the bush. And at the same time, I also collected a little bit of spinach from the bush. We spoke about some of the plants that might be able to nourish you in the bushveld when things get a little bit tough. So what I'm eating here is buffalo thorn, and it turns into a spinach. And you can just crush it like this. You can put it in your mouth. And it becomes a nice tasting spinach. So it's Earth Day today. How many plants have you planted in your seedling trays? What have you done? Have you planted an indigenous tree to your local specific area? Or yet again, have you just spent some time in the natural world? It doesn't matter. If you didn't do anything, no problem. Every single day is Earth Day. The point is that we are continuing and fostering our growth and time in the natural world, as it is important for us to have direct experiences with the natural world in order to love it. It's been a great afternoon with the kids. Ooh. Miss AIC is asking if we have any orchids in the park. Well, you know, I haven't actually noticed any orchids in the park. Let's say hello. Hi there. How are you going for? Good to see you, bud. Nice. I'm going off to Cheetah Plains.
Okay, I'm going to see a channel for the gala.
Show them for the gala down there.
Okay.
Totally forgot about what I was talking about. You know what I was talking about, Dave? We were talking about orchids. Anyway, that was quite awkward, not forgetting the orchid. But the orchid that we get here is actually the leopard orchid, and I haven't seen it yet. It's an epiphyte, which means it'll grow on a tree. It's absolutely beautiful. I used to see it when I was at Londolozi, just to the south of us. If you want to have a look at it, you can Google it and take a picture, and you can send it, tweet it, hashtag SafariLIVE, show everyone how beautiful the leopard orchid is that we get here. Otherwise, just stay online every afternoon and hopefully one day we come across a leopard orchid. But I'm very, very excited this afternoon, as I've never been to Cheetah Plains. So I've only been working with WildEarth for the last 2 weeks, and I've had to learn the reserve, get to know it a little bit better, and now I'm getting the opportunity to go and explore new traverse. That means new landscapes, that means new types of trees, new types of birds, new types of animals, which is just exciting. I love to be an explorer, and to see something for the first time invigorates me. It gives me such energy that I cannot describe.
So we're going to go head down towards where we had those tracks of Karula this morning. See if she's maybe come out of that really big, thick block. James is on tracking team. He's down in that area also having a look. So, hello, Glenda. Kim, welcome to SafariLIVE. Glenda is wondering, what is this show all about? Well, Glenda, it's about the African bush. We are in a private game reserve called the Sabi Sands. More specifically, we are in Djuma Private Game Reserve. So we are out observing nature live. So it is unscripted, raw and real. So whatever you see here is 100% authentic and natural. So we don't have the chance to edit all the best scenes of lions jumping on buffalo and leopards chasing impala. So we're actually out live every day in search of all these wonderful creatures that live here. And being able to spend that much time with them, we do sometimes get to see some of those spectacular sightings. At the moment, Glenda, I'm on my way to go look for a female leopard. And earlier in the show, we had 4 male lions. and they're sleeping. So we'll go back to the male lions when it's cooler, probably around 5:45 this evening. So because it's been quite hot today, it's about 90 Fahrenheit. And just 1 second, I'm just going to talk to Sam quickly. Sam. Sam, on these radios, it's channel 2. Sorry, Sam, my mistake. It is a new radio. It's the 3rd radio set, and it's East Game Drive on that radio. Sorry, that's just helping Sam. We've just had a whole bunch of new radios put in to improve our communications. Oopsie. Okay, so we're just checking all the water holes. Being hot, so sometimes we might find a nice herd of ellies, or even one of the cats coming for a drink. But unfortunately, nothing here right now at the treehouse waterhole. So James Bear is wondering, how fast is the wind blowing? Well, not very fast, probably not even 2 or 3 miles an hour. You can just see a gentle breeze, not even a stiff breeze. Very nice and pleasant, keeps us a little bit cool. And also helps keep some of the insects at bay. UK 2K would like to know, what is the difference between crocodiles and alligators? Well, the main difference is on those knobbly things you see on their back and on their nose. In crocodiles, it's actually bone, whereas alligators, it is cartilage. Also, crocodiles get quite a lot bigger than alligators, and the largest recorded crocodile is over 6 meters, which is around 19 feet. No, it can't be long. No, longer than that. I can't remember now. I think around probably 22, 23 feet is the longest crocodile. And alligators, I think, is a bit smaller. They also get quite a bit bigger and heavier, and they are more aggressive and more likely to eat human beings. So they are a crocodilian, so they do share a common ancestor. And so there we go. As far as I'm aware, the longest crocodile was, there's 2 that are sort of go for the top spot. One was shot in Zimbabwe after it ate a few people, and that was 6.01 meters, so over 19 feet. And then the other is from the Democratic Republic of Congo, and that was said to be 6.5 meters, but it was never confirmed. Also, it was shot because of eating people. Now, a crocodile that size weighs over 1,000 kilograms. It's an absolutely massive animal, incredibly powerful and strong, and they can live for over 100 years. So we're heading down towards the Mawati River system, where I had tracks of Karula this morning, and hopefully she has come out of that very big block she was in. Patrick would like to know whether I am British. Patrick is new, so welcome to SafariLIVE, Patrick. Patrick, I am African, born and bred. My family has been in Africa since 1820. I am of British descent, though. Well, British and Italian descent. But yeah, so we've been here since 1820. I have no firm ties to Queen and country. I'm very much an African through and through. 1820, 1920. So in 2020, my family would have been in Africa for 300 years. So a long time away from Queen and country. Majority of our staff here are, or actually all of our staff are African or South African. I think the only one who's a bit confused would be Rebecca. I think she's African and Danish, if I remember correctly. There you go, I was correct, African and Danish. So there we go. But Brian, South African. James is South African. Sam, South African. Jamie, South African. I'm trying to think. Oh yes, we do have one. We have a Russian. Oh, he's Russian, but we've adopted him. He's an Africanized Russian. He knows words like lekker and some very, very South African sort of colloquial slang, which means nice, lekker. So I'll see if no one's driven over the tracks from this morning. I'll show you exactly where we spotted Karula's track for the first time. But does it look like someone has driven over them? It does. Can you see them, Brian? Someone has driven over where we spotted them. But she walked down the road here, and then she went off on this little path that goes down to the Mawati River, and then into the Mawati River and across and over. So we're just going to come have a double check here. Now, when I say river is quite a strong word for the Mawati. It's a little dry riverbed or creek bed, and what we normally refer to them out here in the bushes as drainage lines. So they're not really rivers, they don't flow constantly, and they don't flow very often at all. And if they do, it's generally for a very short time after a very heavy rain. But the South African colloquialism for that is a donga. So let's go look in the donga. Now, Angela, who's in Boston, knows what it's like to be truly cold. And Boston, I know for a fact, gets very, very cold. And Angela says, she keeps hearing us saying we're going into winter season. What does winter mean for us? How cold does it get? Well, I think the coldest we got last year was 7 degrees Celsius. And that was in the very early morning. It occasionally gets to 0 Celsius, which is, I think, 32 Fahrenheit. But that's about as cold as it gets. I think I've seen the frost in the Sabi Sands once. And during the day, it'll get up to, even up to easily 80 in the winter months. So you can get 75, 80 degrees Fahrenheit during the day, which is cold. We get cold. We have to wear lots of clothes. Also, being out in an open vehicle, there's a wind chill factor. But it is never truly cold, let's put it that way. I think the coldest I've ever been in my life was in Chicago. I think that definitely takes the cake. That was very cold. I sort of have horror flashbacks of the snow piled up against the door, couldn't even open it. And the snow is very pretty when I look at the pictures, but that's where I'd like to keep my snow, in the photograph, not near me. And I don't mind when the temperature goes well over 100, 110, that's okay. As long as it doesn't go down to 20 Fahrenheit, 10 Fahrenheit, that's just very, very cold. So So this is the little river system I was talking about. Very beautiful part of the reserve. Wonderful big leadwoods, jackalberries and boerbeens all around us. Lisa's wondering how many different species of tree are there here. Oh, Lisa, I haven't counted. Comfortably over 100, I'd say well over 100, maybe even 150. I mean, let's just do a quick little stop here and count the tree species. Well, let's start on the left. And we have a common spikethorn. If we go behind the common spikethorn, there's a weeping wattle and a guarri bush. So what's that? That's 3 already, and we haven't really looked. And here we go. The next big tree's there. Timbuti tree. And we keep coming down a bit lower. So what do we got now? 4. There's an apple leaf, number 5. A phlegia, number 6. And we keep going. There's some more guarris. Jackalberry, 7. And jackalberry, 7. Leadwood at the back. Where's my hand? Leadwood at the back, 9. Buffalo thorn, 10. Different guarri species, 11. Combretum heroensis, russet bush willow, 12. Scotia, so probably 20, 25 species easily if I took my time around here. Dwarf boerbeens and gardenias. So I've never actually worked out, but I'm gonna have to maybe have a look and I'll try to get back to you. But I'm guessing probably close on 200 different species of tree. Now this is where Queen Karula departed. And you can see my footprints following her tracks. This morning, there my footprints go off, up, and out on top of the hill there. So she went up that little animal path up there. James is checking from the other side. I just wanted to make sure maybe when it got a bit cooler that she didn't come down for a snooze in the riverbed. So while we search for the Queen of Djuma, let's go see Sam, who's on Cheetah Plains.
So, we are here in Cheetah Plains. This is my first time traversing this area, and I must say I'm already lost. Well, I'm not lost, because I know I'm here. I'm in Cheetah Plains, but to be honest, the way in which I should drive, I don't know. So, I'm just going to drive and see what happens. Hopefully I don't go on to another traverse, but if that happens, we won't have signal. So I'll turn around and get back to signal, so it'll be okay. So Tim's asking, of course, you're going to get, it's different and you're going to get lost there. So, yes, you know, all the roads look pretty similar, but once you get used to the different, you know, the types of trees that are here and which ones are in what junction, then you can figure it out. But there's also a GPS, which is the last resort, but I've also got, on my book, where I have all my information, a map. A map which tells me where I am and all the different roads. So, sorry about that. It wasn't a very nice way to see that book, but that's the book that I use in case anything happens. But more importantly, we are driving through this area. We've got our first impala on Cheetah Plains. There he is. Hello, sir. We know that it's a male because of those prominent horns. And we are coming to the rutting season, which means that he is going to try and find himself a harem of females, unless he already has a harem of females. It's a difficult time for all of them because they're all trying to best look after themselves whilst trying to look after a harem of females. There he is again, just hiding in the back there. Now, an impala, in terms of Cheetah Plains, is quite interesting to see because we know that we often see a cheetah here, and that is an animal that I'm still to see here in the bush. I've seen a cheetah before. I've loved cheetahs. It's weird to see it's not weird to see an impala. It's just that it's different terrain. So when we get into the bush, you often have different types of areas, and impalas enjoy the open areas more than the thick bush. So I'm sure as we move into the open areas, we'll begin to see more of the impala that are around. But at the moment, we are seeing an impala that is much like an inyala or a kudu that likes to be secretive out here in the bush. So that's why I'm saying it's a little bit weird seeing him behind a thicket like that. But there was a great sighting of that big male impala. And guys, I'm sorry about my game comms. It's quite an interesting story. I've got about 3 different radios going on here. I've got one for the east, one for the west, and one for Djuma. So I'm just trying to navigate myself through all these things. And just while we're here, I might as well explain it now, because it's going to fall over and there's going to be mud everywhere. Here we go. That is the little product that I made on Earth Day. As you can see, it doesn't look very beautiful, but I'm going to call it Sammy Jr. the seedling, and I've planted some seeds inside there, and what this is made up of is a number of different materials. So there's plastic, and the reason why I made it in such a way is to upcycle. We use so much plastic in our everyday lives. How can we use waste and turn it into something else? It is a very important thing, because you can imagine how much plastic is in the oceans out there, and how can we use this waste to benefit ourselves. So right next to it, I have the exact same design. So in case you're at home on Earth Day and you felt like making something a little bit different, what I did here is I made this. All I did was take a bottle that used to be like this, and I cut it in half, like that, and then you just put this cloth, which is just an old rag that I got, and you put the rag through and down, like this. So what it does now is that you fill the water, so there should be water here. You fill up to water to about there, and then you put this in like that, and you squash it down, and then what it does, and you put all the soil all the way up to here, and then you plant your seedling. And what that does is it allows for when transpiration, so it takes water from the bottom and brings it up to the top. And I've made an analogy just to make it a little bit more simple for you to see. Here we go. So over here, I've made a representation drawing. So drawing is something that I enjoy, and you can tell that you can see that is the sun, the little sun that I made there, and this is a tree, and on the tree is over here we can see that the sun is here. There's a creeper, a type of plant that's on top of a tree, and there's a water system beneath it. So in green, we have a creeper, which goes up a tree. In blue, we have the water below in the soil. If we go down, down, that's the water. So imagine what's happening beneath the soil. You have water at the bottom. So what happens is a pressure difference and creates negative feedback. So the hot temperatures at the top will pull the water all the way from the bottom and bring it all the way to the top here, to the very, very top where the birdie, which is over there, and the fruit is over there, and that is how it is made. That's how it kind of works. I hope that makes it a little bit better for you to understand the way in which water can go up into the soil. So I made another representation there. That was my little device that I constructed on Earth Day to try and show and just do something with old waste, taking waste and building it so that we can have seedlings. with that, what did you do on Earth Day? I would love to know what you guys all did for Earth Day today. It would be fantastic to find out. Did you plant anything? Did you go out for a walk and see some beautiful plants? Did you learn something new about something that you didn't know before? Crystal in California, that is great news. I hope that you have the most amazing walk in the forest area that you go, and you said that you're going to go pick up some old waste that you find there, and you're going to take some of the not so indigenous plants. So whatever is not indigenous to that area, you are going to take out on your walk. Invasive's the word. Invasive. So you're going to get rid of some of those invasive species. And why it's good to get rid of the invasive species is because it allows the species that were born to that area, the endemic. Endemic means the plants that grew in that habitat from whence we knew. And that will grow and it will help the indigenous birds that like to come to that area to come back. So, great, Crystal. Have a great time. I've done my little bit and now I'm quite keen to see if I can find an ostrich. An ostrich or a cheetah, anything would be very, very cool. Because I haven't seen one of those yet. Have you seen one yet, Dave?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. See, me and Dave have had a fantastic few days. We've been able to see lions, we've seen leopard eating. Tingana was in the tree eating a young kudu. I couldn't believe it. It was one of the most fantastic sightings I've seen in my life. And then seeing those wild dogs chasing down a river, and it was not the river, like the drainage basin. It was unreal. So, if I track properly and I have a look around, there's any chance that we may be able to see these wonderful animals. And I know that they're called Cheetah Plains because of the big open areas. So, I'm still not quite sure where those open areas are. So I'm sure we'll just pop out and next thing we know we've got ostrich running on the open areas or a cheetah running after an ostrich. Jokes, that would be quite cool. And let's not have too many expectations. James Richard is saying, keep your eyes open for jackals, Sam. James, thanks for reminding me that. James Hendry came home the other night and he said, well, it was either James or Brent, and they said that they saw 2 different species of jackals in one drive. And that is a really, really difficult thing to see. The side-striped and the black-backed jackal. Very, very different species. You'll mainly find the side-striped in these areas because the black-back is in competition with all those bigger predators like cheetah, leopard. And so the side stripe rather just likes to eat berries and termites and that sort of stuff. So it's easier for it to live. I'm going to go right. What do you guys think? Should we do it, Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully we get to see one of the jackals. Rebecca's saying, I feel like that's straight. Well, you know what, Rebecca? It could just be straight. But I said it was right. Because it is the right way. Yeah, perception. But it's very thick, so you've got to keep your eye open. Barbara Good just had a question. Rebecca, please go ahead with that question again. So the question was, are there any fire ants in the area, Sam? To be honest, I don't think so. I really don't think there are. I think that's mainly an American thing to have fire ants. But we'll have to find that out. I'll let you know. But I don't think we have fire ants. They're not very nice fire ants, apparently. They bite, is that correct? I know that we have other ants that like to bite. So I'm looking for any kind of tracks, any. Mrs. Horva would like to know, what is the most common animal that you get to see on your properties? You know, Mrs. Horva, I would say it is the impala. The impala is the antelope that we often see. It's you know why we see it so often is because it has been such a successful species over evolution that it is able to flood the market every November and say to all the lions and the leopards that there's too many of us. You can eat as much as you like, but we are still going to dominate in numbers out here in the bush. So the impala still plays a big role in the bush. But just while we're here, there's an amarula tree right next to a termite mound. Big termite mound. So I haven't seen that termite mound, obviously. It's quite a big one, and you can tell that it's inactive because of the holes that are in the termite mound. But something really cool that I was taught the other day from one of the trackers at Djuma, his name's Fan, he told me that with the marula tree, if you go to the marula and you cut open a little bit of that bark of the marula tree, you get to a part of the tree that is quite orange. And if you take that, so it's just beneath the bark layer, you take that layer and you put it in a thing of water, a big bowl of water, cold water, and you let it soak, and then you get a t-shirt, a white t-shirt, and you put that white t-shirt and you let it soak in that bark, you can have a beautifully painted orange t-shirt. Yeah, so I think that's quite cool. Myself and Fan are going to one day cut down some of that little bit of bark and put it and make ourselves some orange t-shirts and walk around the bush. Yeah, well, I don't know when these open areas are coming, but I've got a feeling it's going to be around the corner. What do you think, Dave? Dave reckons that we're going to see something like that around the corner. Big open areas. There's no open area. Jackie from Georgia is asking, what type of seedlings would you grow? You know, Jackie, I normally with my twin and I, we used to grow seedlings, and we would mainly have spinach and all sorts of other ones, from tomato. So we really tried to make vegetable seedlings, and then we would go into different houses and communities and we'd put those into the gardens there. So I've mainly done that from that point of view. But you can also put flowers in there. You can put, Dave's giving me a nice left hand over there, saying probably don't turn right, you might be going in the wrong direction. But yeah, in those seedling trays you can really grow whatever you feel like growing. I mean, if you want to grow a wildflower, that's okay. You can grow it in your kitchen, and that's what's really exciting. If you take old products and you can build them in such a way that can make your kitchen look beautiful, go for it. You know, make your kitchens alive with some of the beauty of the natural world, so that when you wake up in the morning, you can smell the good freshness of the natural world while you have your coffee. But I would recommend that you put those seedlings close to the window where the sun will come through. Laura Craft says that she's just planted some tomatoes today. Is that correct? That is fantastic. Well done. And hopefully you can keep... Ooh, we've got some impala. Over there we've got some more impala with that beautiful sunset that's coming into the distance. So what we've spotted in Cheetah Plains today is quite a few good-looking impala. As we can see, they are females. So we saw a male that was in the thicket there, and now we've come into a more open area. We've come to the big herd of females and youngsters, and there should be a male around here, unless that male that was down there was with them, but I doubt it. They were quite far away from each other. So there should actually be another male there. So it'll be one male to many, many females. And that's going to be a very tough time for him because he's not going to groom himself. He's going to look after that harem, protect them from any predators, and he's going to mate with them. And he only lasts about 6 or 7 days until he can no longer help it. He has to rest and groom himself. So it's just phenomenal how impalas are and the design and the strategy in which they've lived. With that, let's go and see what Brent's up to. We're going to go and see if we can actually find these open areas.
So I found some tracks of Karula. I went for a walk in the bush here, and I did see tracks. They were quite strange, going up and down. So I'm just looping out around the block again, making sure she hasn't crossed out and to the north. But I've left James on foot inside there, so hopefully he is able to come up with something if we don't have any success checking the road. Now, it is Earth Day today, very important. So I hope you guys have been planting indigenous trees or pulling out exotics. Lots of little ways everyone can help with Earth Day. Watch your water consumption and recycle your litter. So this block that Karila's tracks have disappeared into is quite a difficult block, quite a big one between these two roads. And there's some very thick areas up here on the crest, and then a myriad of little dongas. And if you don't remember what dongas are, it's that South African word for sort of a dry riverbed, but quite a steep one. And there's some very steep little dongas in there. So Ginny on Twitter is wondering, what is bushveld? This is bushveld, Ginny. This is what we'd call actually the correct terminology for this bushveld we have around us here is broad-leaved woodland. So bushveld is a mosaic of woodlands and grasslands in Africa mostly. I don't think it's called bushveld anywhere else, but another probably more commonly used term for bushveld is savanna. Quite a funny term, bushveld, because bush, we're in the bush, or in Afrikaans, ons gaan veld toe. We're going to the bush. So, well, not quite a direct translation, but we're almost saying bush, or bush area. But the veld could be grassland, it could be bush, but very funny little term. So it's an amalgamation of an English and Afrikaans word that has become a common term out here in South Africa. We've been chatting around drainage lines and riverbeds, and I mentioned a little bit earlier that they do flow, but only after heavy rain, and Debbie McKesson was wondering that. So yes, they do flow, but generally for a very short time, and... Oh, sorry, I thought I saw a leopard track, Debbie. Yes, they do flow, but again, for very short times after heavy rain. baboons have been here today as well. See all baboon tracks heading off down the road. And those tracks weren't there this morning. Monkey Man's wondering whether lions in the area ever hunt monkeys and baboons. They're opportunists. If they do get the chance to, they will definitely. And leopards as well, if there is a chance. A young baboon wandering or playing a bit far from the adults will definitely take that opportunity to grab it. You're checking those trees for a leopard kill, Brian. I can see you doing that. Well done. But it's always great to have a good cameraman who's also a good spotter, and quite often the cameraman will spot the animals before we do, because we're sometimes very focused with our heads on the ground looking for tracks, so it's always important to work as a team. So just in case someone has driven over the tracks during the day, I'm going to do the next road down before looping back. So while we keep checking for the Queen of Djuma, let's go back to Sam, who was on the plains of the cheetah.
We have another bird for my bird list. It's been a long time since I've been able to put a bird on my list, but look how cool this bird is. I haven't seen it in ages. I think it is a black-bellied bustard, the champagne bird, but I can't get a good visual on it to confirm. Let's see if we can. Did you see where it went there? Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna see if we can get to a position where we can see that bird again. Oh, it's just gone into the thicket. We managed to see quite a bit of it, so I'm pretty sure I saw the black eye. Let's just keep looking. That is a bird that you're not often going to see in the bush. At least I haven't seen that bird in the bush for quite some time. It's the black-bellied bustard. Sorry? Yes. Here we go, 133. So the bird that we just saw was, hold on 1 second. There we go. Black-bellied bustard. There we go, the one over here. Which is so cool that we saw it. I saw it once during my training, and I came around the corner and I saw it in the distance, and I just got such a good fright. Fright's not the right word, a good surprise. And it's got a very interesting call. So that was that. We've seen a new animal in Cheetah Plains, for me at least. Have you seen that yet since you've come out here? Yes, you know what, let's actually play it. Let's play the bird call of the black-bellied bustard, because I can't remember it. I just so that's the African fish eagle, but yeah, so it's not what you might think it is as a black-bellied bustard. So let's just play that again, because it's got an interesting call. It sounds like, I think it's a champagne bottle or something from my memory. Yeah, so kind of, they used to call it the champagne bird. Here it goes. That was awesome, eh? That was very cool. So that is the black-bellied bustard. We seem to be having a problem with our comms in our car. I'm just going to see if I can sort it out. I'm not quite sure. I've been given a whole new radio system out here in the Cheetah Plains, and I'm just trying to figure it out. But slowly, during practice, I'll figure it out. Ooh, the sun is going down out here in Cheetah Plains, and just before it goes down, I think both Dave and I and all of you would love to see what the open plains looks like. So I know we're getting closer. I've just got that feeling. An open plains means the greater opportunity to see both the ostrich and the cheetah. Alright, so we're going to go this way. My intuition says go right. So I think I might be right with that one. Okay. Here we go. It just seems like, because I came here the other day, we had to do interviews and do some chats out on the open areas, and I was so astonished by what it looked like. But I had no idea how we got there. And so I'm busy. Oh, there goes a grey hornbill. Look at it flying. It's got a... Oh, if you managed to see the flying hornbill, sorry about that. I know it wasn't very easy. It just came past my screen. Well, not my screen, your screen very quickly, and it has like a dipping. So it flies, it comes down, flies, and it comes down. But you know what? It's actually quite fun to be lost, because you just never know what's going to happen.
As the African sun starts setting, it is time for the predators. Although I don't think those Birmingham boys, after their marathon last night, are quite ready to move. So we've just been sitting quietly listening for any sounds that might lead us towards the Queen of Djuma. And there we go. Notice those spider webs. Look how pretty that is. And that golden African light coming through. And you can see the big queen golden orb spider in the middle there. Now, spider webs are fascinating things, and spiders are fascinating creatures. I'm just going to sneak a little bit closer to that. So, we have a look there quickly. It's a big female golden orb. I'm going to go have a closer look at the web shortly. But there we go, you can see it. Now, you see that layer of carcasses next to her, carapaces and little bits of the insects she's caught that she can't eat. Now, she arranges them like that on purpose. And that is so birds don't fly through her web. Now, this is a really big female golden orb. The males are tiny, and they often get eaten. I'm trying to see if I can spot one a little bit closer. Another very cool thing you find on golden orb spiders' webs are little kleptoparasites. So they're called dewdrop spiders. So they're very small, and they look like mercury, and they hide on these webs and eat all the little bits the orb can't. I mean, I don't want to break any of her web. But I mean, look at that. Look how big she is. Next to my hand. Isn't that spectacular? Oh, so exciting. And I've spotted a kleptoparasite. I'm just going to... I'll put him back. These are so cool. They're literally like little slivers of mercury. Let's try it. Got him there, Brian. So There we go, a little parasite, a dewdrop spider.
Are there any stations with the encounter?
Oh, come back here, don't go too far. There we go. So I'm going to put it back on the web. So this little guy hides on the web, and he looks like dew in the morning, hence his name. Ooh. Oh, here we go. Let's put him back on the edge of the web. Now, I can't see any male orbs. There we go. But there's probably about 20-odd dewdrop spiders. Everywhere I look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they're so small that the female golden orb doesn't really get hold of them. And there's no males. So the males have to be very careful. They've got to really sort of sneak up behind her, and then they've got to tickle her abdomen. And if they don't get their tickling just right, she eats them. So it's a tough being a male spider, or male orb spider at least. But that's definitely the biggest one I've seen this year. Hey, Brian, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely the biggest one we've seen this year. With the lack of rain, there haven't been too many orb spiders around. He's got a good spot there, unlikely to be walked through by too many animals on top of a termite mound. And we're just going to pop her in the sun again. Oh, there we go. Spider sunset. Oh, sorry, Brian, I didn't realize she was being hidden by a bush. There we go, there she is. Now, I know lots of people aren't too fond of creepy crawlies. Now, I'm a huge fan, and they are such important members of the whole interconnected community of plants, animals that are out here in the bush. And quite often when you remove certain insect species or spider species, it would cause a massive explosion of another species, which is never really good. So just remember that sometimes we shouldn't really kill the creepy crawlies. I like having spiders in my room. They eat mosquitoes. There's one creature I'm not such a big fan of. So, nice to be off the vehicle for a little bit as well. And just, it gives you that extra chance to just listen. So if Karula's moving around, we might hear an impala alarm calling or a squirrel alarm calling that might lead us to her presence. There's a lot of excitement in case we can find Karula, and we are looking for her tracks, and James is also in the area. And hopefully we do have some luck. If not, I'm on tracking team in the morning, and it's just very strange tracks going backwards and forwards. And if we have no luck this evening, I think I might go take an extended walk through that area in the morning if we don't find any other tracks of her.
For the moment.
So I think we will give ourselves another good half an hour of looking for the Queen before heading towards those Birmingham boys when it gets cool enough for them to move. So we've got no sign of her coming out this side, so we're going to delve back into the Mwati River system and head back towards Last Tracks. But before we do that, since it is Earth Day, Sam has showed you how to plant some plants to help propagate new ones. And I'm going to show you something a little different. Now, a lot of the exotic plant species that come into these natural areas were brought in as quite a lot of them ornamental plants, pretty ornamental plants. But one of the biggest problems is that they get moved down by rivers. So the river might be outside the reserve and it carries the seeds. And one of the ones that has spread the worst is Lantana camara, which is originally from South America. Very pretty, but very poisonous. So we do have an indigenous Lantana species called bird's brandy, and that is very tasty, and that's Lantana rugosa. And one of my favorite little snacks when they're fruiting out in the African bush. But I remember I was following a lion or a leopard, I can't remember, a while ago through here, and I spotted something that I've been meaning to come back, and since it's Earth Day, we're going to come back and remove it. We do report any invasive species we find to the Sabi Sands, and they do have a team that goes around to remove those terrible invasives. But of course, the Sabi Sands is a very big place, and they can't be everywhere at once. But this drought will actually be quite good at controlling certain of the invasives. So if I remember correctly, it should be right around here somewhere. A little bit further, maybe. Where is it? Or maybe I drove past it. I might have to just turn around. This is a dead end here. Oh. Now, there looks like there could be one. But let me just have a closer look. It's very easy to identify when it's got flowers, but when it doesn't have flowers, it's just an innocuous little green bush. But there is a way. I'm pretty sure this is the exact one. Very terrible smell. So really poisonous. If animals eat this, they start foaming at the mouth. They actually show similar signs to rabies. So what we're going to do here, let's get hold of it. Where's the base? That's not it. It's this one here. It's right at the bottom. So fortunately, their root systems are not too bad. So there we go. Remove the lantana, remove exotic species, keep the bush natural. We shall have a ceremonial burning of it later. Now, of course, exotic species are a huge problem all over the world. And I think, if my memory serves me correctly, there are about 400 or 500 known exotic species in South Africa alone. And most of the exotic species are plants, and most of them were originally brought out as ornamental plants for gardens. Lantana, if maintained, makes a really nice hedge. Jilly, Mary, and Kathy are all planting tomatoes today to help feed themselves and take pressure off Mother Earth. So good luck with your tomato planting. I'm going to start doing one last loop around the area where I think Karula might be, and then head towards the Birmingham boys if we have no luck. But while we do that, let's go back to Sam, who's looking at a gorgeous African sky.
From taking an invasive species with Brent out the Lantana to the beautiful plains of Cheetah Plains, looking at that sunset, beautiful colors which are red, yellow, and some blue and purple in the sky above it. It's another great evening here in the African savannah, and what's going to be also quite unreal is the moonrise that will be coming in not so long. Very, very soon we're going to have that big moon opening itself over the savannah and brightening its way for all the animals that walk on its plains. So this is the first time at Cheetah Plains. We've seen a black-bellied bustard, which is something that I'm very unfamiliar with, and we heard its bird call. It really did sound like the pop of a champagne bottle. That's how I used to learn it when I was sitting in my room trying to study all the different birds of Southern Africa at least. That's what it really helps, with different birds, you make different sound calls to try and learn a little bit more. Like, for example, with I think it's the chin spot baddest, it goes, it sounds like 3 blind mice. I know it might sound silly, but it's a way in which I can identify with that bird, and it makes it a little bit easier, and it gets you familiar with the bird calls out in the bush. So that's how I get it done. But myself and Dave made it into the plains, and you're with us here now in this open area, and it is rather quiet this evening, but that quietness can always change with an ostrich running across its plain. So we're going to come back over the plains, and hopefully we can see something like an ostrich, because I just can't even imagine seeing an ostrich in the bush. Where I'm from in Cape Town, we have ostriches there, but as a kid I used to just paint the shells, and it wasn't in a reserve. Don is asking, do we have any speed limits in the Sabi Sands? Yes, Donna, we most certainly have speed limits. We go at 40 kilometers an hour. So I try not to go too fast ever, unless it's when we're trying to get to a sighting, or when we know that there's something really, really exciting happening out in the bush. But if you're not mindful of the driving, you can drive over a bump, and it's just not worth it driving fast out here. And why would you want to? You've got everything around you, the beautiful landscapes of Africa to take in and breathe. I can tell you, this is what I'm feeling at the moment. I'm feeling a little bit of a chill as the winter nights begin to settle. I'm soon going to have to change this shirt into a jersey for my evening drives as it begins to get cooler. There's a nice crispy smell out here, and there's a nice light wind that blows. Not a wind like you get in Cape Town. I'm not sure if any of you guys have been to Cape Town, but that's where the wind can really blow. Over here it's very minor compared to what Cape Town's like. We're coming quite close to a watering hole now, so let's just be quiet and maybe we can see some birds. What's happening at the watering hole at Cheetah Plains this evening? Once again, it seems fairly quiet. Seems fairly quiet, but you know what I was hearing just a few seconds ago was the Senegal lapwing, which really enjoys the open areas, and I haven't seen that on Djuma yet. So hopefully when we come back down towards the open areas, we can get to see that lapwing. And the main one that we see in Djuma is the black Smith plover. And those plovers are, or otherwise lapwings. I don't know which is the right one to use more. I think it's lapwing, because they're the same name. They've just changed now. I get quite confused sometimes with that. But the lapwings are generally precocial, which means they, some birds are atricial and precocial. Atricial birds are birds that are born and they have to be raised. You know, they're born with their eyes closed and sometimes featherless. And the precocial birds are birds that are born with all their feathers and they can open their eyes. And the lapwing is a bird that is born precocial. So hopefully we get to see one of those. There's one of my favorite poems that I read. I think it's by a person called David White. I'm not sure if it's David White, but it's a poem called Lost. And I'll put it on my Twitter feed tonight. It's my favorite poem. It starts off by saying that no two trees are different to Raven, and it's just a fantastic poem that teaches you that you never really lost ever. So I'll send that. But with that, while we drive through the plains, let's go and see how Brent's doing.
So unfortunately, no luck with Kula. James is just sitting and listening in that area. Maybe, fingers crossed, he'll hear some alarm calls. And before those Birminghams disappear, because they are quite close to our boundary, they're actually in a little triangle of Djuma. It's like that goes up towards the gate. They're sitting smack bang in the middle of that triangle. So hopefully we'll get there. I'm pretty sure we'll get there before they start moving. But I feel like I've been needing a male lion roar in my life. And when I have the whole car vibrating, this 4 male lions surround sound roar it does. I think that's a good plan for the rest of the evening. And I know a lot of you would have heard this before, but if there are some new viewers out there, so some of you won't know that I've grown up in the African bush pretty much my whole life. I've lived in game reserves and in safari lodges, and then afterwards I've worked in many different countries around Africa. But when I was very small, I had a couple of very important influences in my life in terms of the bush or wildlife, and it was my father, then his father and mother. So my grandparents on my dad's side are all very bush people. And my dad and my grandfather used to tell us a story about what does a male lion say. And you can imagine to a younger child, it's very exciting to figure out what a lion says. So if you haven't heard a lion roar, it sounds something like this.
Andrew, are you seeing all?
Sorry, I'll finish now. I just need to make sure.
We should be, but I'm going to we should be maybe one more day.
Sorry, guys, I'll be with you in a second. I'm about 5 minutes away. Ephraim left them with no vehicles. Sorry, back to the story. So that's what a lion sort of sounds like. Of course, a lion doing it's far more impressive than me doing it. I mean, I've got the mane, but I don't have the voice box. So how it was explained by my grandfather and father was that a male lion says, "Whose land is it? Whose land is it? Whose land is it? It's mine. It's mine. It's mine." And apart from being a really cool story when you're a kid, it's a very apt description, because that's what a male lion's doing when he's roaring. He's claiming territory. He's telling all the other lions that this is his land, and he will defend it. While we speed off to the lions, Sam is still on Cheetah Plains, and he's with my good mate and Brian's good friend, Gnormous Gnorman the Gnu.
Greetings to Gnormous Gnorman the Gnu. So his name is Gnormous Gnorman the Gnu. So I can't even say it properly. That's your name. It's my first time that I'm meeting you. This is your territory. Have a look at the space that this big wildebeest owns. Oh, okay, so it's good friends with Brian and Brent. This is my first acquaintance with you. It seems that it's going well so far. He just lifted his head, maybe to say hello, Sam, and hello, Dave. Welcome to my land. This is my land. This is my grass that I like to eat. It's nice and short compared to the nice long grass. This is why I'm here. Grass is shorter than normal. And that's the difference between a wildebeest and a zebra. A zebra will eat much longer grass than the wildebeest. The wildebeest likes the short grass. But often you'll find them grazing in same areas because the zebra will eat the big, thicker grass, taller grasses, and the wildebeest will come behind and eat the smaller grasses. It's good to meet you on your territory. You really are a big male. And have a look at the design of the wildebeest. It's really shows how it is built for migration. Have a look at the way in which it has its spinal column. You can see that when it runs, it is able to flop its head from up and down. So that's the way, that's the migration. Wildebeest were known to move in big migrations, and so their bodies were designed for that specific purpose. So when you get to learn a little bit more about the designs of animals, you can understand them a little bit better. It's much like looking at the way in which the cheetah is born for this kind of landscape, how it has fixed in arms. If you just have a look here, look at my arm, pretend my arm over here is the cheetah. So this is the leg of the cheetah and this is the foot, and so it's one bone. So that bone goes out and up like that, and that is the main reason why cheetah are not able to climb trees like leopard. Because leopard can move their wrists, they can grab around the tree like that, and that is how a leopard can climb a tree. That's why it's very, very difficult for a cheetah to climb a tree. But a cheetah has that way so it can run quickly and grab onto the soil in front and go quickly, and it uses its tail as a rudder. So you'll find it moves, and the rudder will move in the direction that it's going. So it'll turn it that way, and then it'll move that way. So it's fascinating when you watch them chasing after all sorts of different animals. And maybe one day we'll have the privilege of being able to watch a cheetah on these plains chasing an impala or a steenbok or something similar. Even a jackal. So that is a fantastic sighting of Gnormous Gnorman the Gnu. It's been a pleasure to meet you. Hopefully I get to meet you a little bit more on your big land here. He'll probably be waiting for some females that will come and take it. So what the wildebeest does is create its land as close to the availability of water and food as it can, and that will attract the females that he needs in order to mate. So it's very interesting to understand how different animals have different ways in which they'll create social organization. Okay, so we're going back into the thicket, which means that we have left that beautiful open area back into the thick bush where it's starting to get dark. So the nocturnal animals will begin to be opening their eyes and getting ready for whatever's happening tonight, from the bush baby to the white-tailed mongoose. I actually had to come here the other night to fix the antenna to be able to go on this area, and we only left very late at night, and I was driving in the pitch black. It was very, very dark, and we were driving and I spotted 3 white-tailed mongooses, which was very cool because I'd only ever seen those once, and I saw 3 of them at once, so it was very cool being able to view white-tailed mongoose. Not an easy sighting out here in the bush. I'm going to switch on my lights because it is starting to get a little bit dark and a little more chilly. But as we're coming towards the end of our drive, we've only got about 45 minutes left. I'm very keen to listen to how your Earth Day has been, what you've been up to, and how you've been planting. As I said, you don't even need to plant, you just need to experience the natural world in any other way. Jan Wallen would like to know if there are any bats in southern Africa or in this area in general. Yes, there are two different types of bats. You get the fruit-eating bats and the insect-eating bats. And we quite often see the insect-eating bats in these areas. The bird that we have here, there it is. We've seen it before. It's beautiful and black, and it's got a fork as a tail. That is the fork-tailed drongo. And when we often see the fork-tailed drongo is behind those big breeding herds of elephants, where the elephants will knock all the insects out of the ground by rustling them in the grass, and fork-tailed drongo will come behind it and snip on some of those insects as it walks by. Glad we've been able to find one other bird that we can put to our bird list this evening. Julia Smith's asking, Julia Smith's asking do vultures eat anything, or are they eaten by anything? Oh. So, does anything eat and hunt the vulture? You know what? It's mainly a no, purely because vultures are the territory consumers, which means they're on top of the food chain. But of course, if you have youngsters or you have eggs, those will be fed on by many other small critters that will be able to collect those eggs and eat them. But on a general note, vultures are on top of the food chain and they don't get eaten by anything. I still haven't seen a vulture since I've been here. I'm very fascinated with vultures because they play such a critical role to the bush. Much like the hyena, the vulture will be the sanitizer, so they go and they'll eat out and clean anything out, from any carcass that they find, they'll eat. And obviously, if you don't have the influence of those tertiary consumers, scavengers, then disease will manifest itself in the bushveld, and therefore creating a lot of good for the ecosystem.
I love this time of the day. The bush starts changing, the smell starts changing, it's cooler. It's the time of the predators. Lions and leopards and hyenas start getting moving. So we are nearly at the lions, and we're going to go in there just now. They're still sleeping at the moment, but I thought before we went there, I'd do a little scout around to see if there was any potential prey species close by if they do get moving. Like the warthog who just ran across the road. Now that warthog is on his way home, so it's normally, for this part of the world, it's quite late for a warthog to be out and about. So obviously quite close to his burrow, and they use disused aardvark burrows as their home. And it is an absolutely gorgeous evening. I'm just going to find a spot we can have a look at some of the tree silhouettes. Always a very special time of the day. Not a cloud in the sky. One of these days, I always think I'm going to find a leopard silhouetted. Look at that. That's a lovely big Scotia. So the Scotia Tingana tried to take his warthog kill up, but failed. And I'm waiting for the day I find a leopard in that tree. Not yet, but it's going to happen. I can feel it in my bones. So Courtney's very astute comment is that, well, maybe the Salati males or other males, when they roar, they could say, whose land is it? Whose land is it? Can I take it? Can I take it? That's probably very true. Or if they move into new, whose land is it? Whose land is it? Is there anyone there? So it probably is a bit of that. But once they are established, they're pretty much warding off all of the other lions, or male lions in particular. So Tony would like to know if buffalo are as devious as people. Now, Tony's question was, if the lions are hunting buffalo, would one buffalo hook or trip or sabotage another so it would be taken and the rest of the buffalo can escape? I've never seen any behavior like that. I don't think they have the cognition to be able to do that. And I think it's normally just primates who are that terrible. Oops, sorry, radio. One thing I'm worried about is that they might head towards Sydney's waterhole for a drink, which is quite close. I'm hoping they don't, though. I'm hoping they meander straight down the middle of Vuyatela. Standing by.
We are Brent on you. I'll make space for you if you want to come back.
Copy, thanks, Jan. I'm coming from Sydney's Dam or Sabi Sands Kaya side. So we're going back to the lions. Now those Birmingham boys had a particularly long march this morning. I estimate it to be close or between 20 and 25 kilometers. So they were on their way east, and then I think they heard the Salati males and then marched back up to the north, saw them off, and then came south. Jumbo! How about it, got Kelvin? Kelvin has said Jumbo, which is hello in Swahili. And Kelvin would like to know why the Birmingham boys don't have their own pride. They actually have two prides, Kelvin. So male lions are often not with the females. They do move vast distances in defending that territory from other males. So it is not uncommon to see the male lions without females with them. But this particular coalition of males, the Birmingham boys, have two prides, the Styx pride and the Nkahuma pride, that fall within their territory at the moment. Fingers crossed they feel like being vocal this evening. So we're approaching them, and we're almost at the perfect time. If they are going to get moving early, this is when they will start. Oh, timing is impeccable. One has just stood up. beautiful sight. Magnificent male lion. And they could eat. They're not desperately hungry, but they definitely could eat. It'll be interesting to see which way they get moving this evening. He might just be going to find a spot for his evening ablutions, or he might meander down to Sydney's waterhole for a drink. No, he's just going to flop down in a different spot. Well, let's go see what the other boy's up to. There's one lying right in the middle of the road. So, Lynn in Michigan is wondering how far away are these lions from the Djuma camp. Lynn, they're probably about 1.5 kilometers, 2 kilometers as the crow flies. So there is a possibility they might go that way this evening. But they are right in this little top corner of Djuma at the moment. Have to adjust our one light so we don't blind everyone. So we're looking for the precursors to movement, the starting of yawning, stretching, defecating. There's a nice yawn. Just massive heads. Oh, itchy nose. He's giving his paws a bit of a lick and a clean. Oh, he's up. Alice in Ohio is wondering, why do lions sleep all day, even if they are hungry? Well, Alice, it's a very good question. They are not very good at dealing with heat. So the reason they keep still for most of the day is because when it's hot, they're not able to move around too much. And lions, if their core body temperature raises by just a few degrees Celsius, it can kill them. So they need to manage that. They're unable to sweat like we are, so they do that. Oh, next boy is up. There we go, there's a little back stretch as well. Oh, oof, nice stretch. Now, these are the good precursors to the lions getting on the move, but quite often with males, it takes them a little while. So you might just walk over and flop down somewhere else for a bit. This guy's having a good scratch. So Judy's wondering, when the Birmingham boys meet a female on heat, how do they decide who is going to breed with her? By fighting, Judy. They will have quite aggressive fights between each other over who gets the first mating rights. But it'll be quite often that more than one of them will mate with that female over her estrus cycle. No, don't go that way. He just stood on a thorn and trying to get it out. There we go, thorn's out. Heidi's wondering if the 5th Birmingham boy has joined. He's not. They left him quite far from here. Are we behind us, Brian? Can I go back? Debbie in Vancouver says what we need right now is a buffalo. Then we would see them really move. That is very true, Debbie. We would see them in full flight. So it looks like they might head north again, which is not too good for us. Now, if they do decide to roar, we're in the right spot. We'll get the full brunt of 2 of them at least. Massive canines. Rais is wondering why evolution hasn't changed a lion's fur to be so thinner, because they get hot so easily. Well, as cats go, Rais, they have very thin fur, apart from the males, of course, with their manes. But the evolutionary reason that they don't deal with heat is so they become the dominant nocturnal predator. So they've evolved to be operating at night when it's cooler. And the daytime, we evolved to be the dominant predator in. And we didn't want to be in competition with lions, and neither did lions want to be in competition with us. I hear an impala snort in the distance, and I don't think it's from these guys. It could be rutting. I'm just going to keep quiet for a second and listen. Just 2 snorts. I think it was too far away to be at these lions. It could be a leopard, or it could be that 5th Birmingham joining them, but I don't think so. I think I heard he was still sleeping in the same place, and there's very little chance he's covered that 6 or 7 kilometers already. Come on, guys, give us a roar. So most of the cat species have retractable claws. Cheetah's the only one who doesn't. Ooh, there's a yawn. Not a roar, though. And Zoe's wondering how long a lion's claws are. Trying to think, probably about 2 inches long, Zoe. And very, very sharp. Seem to be facing north to where they chased the salatis last night. I think they're waiting to see if those males start roaring. And Impala's gone quiet now. Mia, my cat, says if I did my roar now, would the lion react? Probably not, Mia. I think synchronized. My roaring wouldn't inspire any great fear or anything in these lions. However, if I made a buffalo distress call, it might be a very different scenario. But we're not going to do that. Ruby Joseph is wondering how long a lion's canines are. I'm not good with inches and stuff, but in centimeters, I'd probably say they're close on 10. 10, 11 maybe. Yeah. 10, 11 centimeters, quite easily. Oh, bless you. Rebecca Hilbert says she's absolutely obsessed with lions. They're such stunning creatures. Andrew, you can come next to me if you'd like. So Rebecca says but she feels that way about all big cats. They are absolutely beautiful animals. It's incredible latent power in those muscles. Now, when they start grooming like this, it's a good precursor to movement. The fact that they've got up, walked around a little bit, laid down again, walked a little bit. It's very typical lion behavior. Now the question is, are they going to roar or are they going to move before the end of the safari? Bear would like to know, when it comes to lions roaring, are they similar to wolves? So if one starts, the rest will follow. And yes, that's very, very similar. They do that often. Oh, not just yet, though. So, of course, lions have a massive gape. And Jen Ward's wondering, when a lion opens his wall, look at that stretch. And that little groan to go along with it. Oh, we stood on a thorn again. Same guy who stood on the thorn last time. So Jane was wondering, oh bless you, how big his gape is when he opens his mouth wide. I'm trying to guess, it's probably close on half a meter. I had to hesitate to guess. Never really measured a male lion's open mouth closely before. I think it'd be quite detrimental to my health. So while we wait to see what these lions do, let's jump across to Sam, who wants to show you the magnificence of the moon this evening.
Take a look at this huge moon in the bush. It is full moon tonight. Wow. Can you see significantly now that rabbit that's in the moon? You can see the 2 ears and the whole body that is there. That is what my dad used to say to me when I was a kid. Sam, can you see the rabbit in the moon? So yes, Father, I could see it. And it was also a really good friend of mine from Scotland who might be watching tonight. He taught me the rabbit in the moon and some of the stories that came behind it. And what's also fascinating is that we never see the other side of the moon. Have you ever thought about that? I know that there was a whole album by Pink Floyd called The Dark Side of the Moon, but because we can only see that part of the moon, it's because the sun is reflecting only that side. So as you can imagine, the moon is following the sun all the way around the earth all the time, and is only collecting that sunlight that is coming from the sun itself. And so that is the refraction of the earth's sun that we're looking at. And also quite an interesting fact is apparently the moon is because of the an asteroid that hit many years ago and then disconnected or dislodged a piece of the earth out into our atmosphere, and that became our moon. And as you know, the moon plays such a crucial and critical role on our planet, and it gives us life. And the reason why it gives us life is because it gives us a 23.5 tilt of the Earth's axis. And if we didn't have that tilt, we wouldn't be able to, well, the Earth would be rapidly changing all the time. So that gravitational pull for the moon gives us that slight axis, that slight tilt that manages to give us life on Earth. So often we're looking at the sun and we are praising the sun for all the good things that it gives us here down on Earth. But rarely do we think about the moon's influence. How spectacular. With that, let's take time when we can to learn a little bit more about our moon, to see its influence on our great Earth. But did you know that if you were to hit a baseball bat, because you guys in America play baseball, I've never played baseball, but if you hit that ball, it would go 6 times further if you were standing on the surface of the moon. How cool is that? So if you were standing on the moon now and you were playing baseball, your ball would be hit 6 times further than what it would be now. Gracie, aged 8, says that she can see a hippo in the moon. Gracie, that's so cool that you can see a hippo. It's like, that's one of my the greatest things to do when I was a kid. When I was a young boy, I used to sit outside underneath the clouds and I would try and talk about all the different shapes that I used to see in the sky. So Gracie's 8 years old and she's a very, very, very good viewer here for WildEarth. She's here almost every single day. So you see a hippo in the moon. What else do you guys see in the moon? I can only see the hare just because, or the rabbits, just because that's all I've ever been told as a little boy. Oh, so the moon, as we know, plays that significant role on the savannah. And tonight is going to be extra bright. And so everything out here is going to be very cautious of its environment. Because everything is going to be open. Everything is going to be able to be seen. So the whole consciousness of the bush is changing tonight. So think of that wherever you are in the world, and think of all those lions and leopards that are on Djuma's property and how they might be influencing their environment tonight. And with that, let's go and see how Brent is doing with the lions.
We're still sitting with the Birmingham boys, and I haven't moved too much. Sorry, I'm about to sneeze. I'm going through a bit of a sneeze attack at the moment. I've had a few. Just trying to concentrate my sneeze away. Okay, I think I've defeated the sneeze. So, full moon is out tonight, and that is actually a hindrance to a lot of the predators. They prefer to hunt on the dark nights when the prey species don't have the best view. We should start seeing the moon arise. We can just see the light, sorry, Brian, coming up on the horizon. So the moon is just behind the trees for us still. I don't know if we can pick it up in the camera. No, I don't think so. A little bit, tiny bit, the light starting to shine through. Coming up from the east. So one of the favorite things for the male lions to hunt is buffalo, and they have a very effective strategy, especially if they find big herds, and they'll keep harassing them. So they don't actively stalk like they would for something that they have to sneak away from. What they do is they sort of rush them and start looking for weaknesses and trying to find an individual that'll be easier to pick off from a big herd. So there's 3 Birminghams here. There's 2 behind that bush, and I'm just seeing where the other one is. So Jilly is saying she's seeing big cats discard the stomach contents from a kill, and wondering if there's anything else that'll eat that. Vultures, for example. Well, Jilly, no, the stomach content is grass, so it's undigested grass, and the predator's digestive system is not designed to handle that type of stuff. So dung beetles will often eat it, and they will go make dung balls from it, and then various different insects, birds sometimes will also eat the stomach contents. But other than that, none of the major predators or predatory birds are going to eat the stomach contents. Now, you often have to be very patient with male lions, or lions in general, to catch them doing the good stuff. I did hope they were going to give us a concert tonight, but the night is still not over yet, so there's a possibility. But it has been quite a hot day, so I think these guys are only going to get moving closer to sort of 8:39. There we go. How's it, John? Very well, thank you. Yeah, in Gnormous. Yeah. There's two behind this bush and one still over that side. So, yeah. So, oh, it sounds like those lionesses are actually on their way here. I didn't hear that. My radio was turned down. So that could be exciting, and I think it is the Nkahuma pride. They're still quite far away, but they are on their way towards this direction. Let's try to see what the others behind the bush are up to. Let's just take the long way around so we don't drive over that one's tail.
Which direction they're going on? So that is a little bit more to the east. I'm going around, drive around to catch up with these mafas again. I think maybe they will join that Marora right there.
Lazy kitty cats. So even though they do, as I said, they do sleep for 20 hours a day, their 4 hours of mobility is not 4 hours in a row. It's often 20 minutes in a row. Walk for 20 minutes, sleep for half an hour, walk for 40 minutes, sleep for an hour and a half. So it's always broken up. And they're showing sign of zero movement at the moment. Looks so peaceful. Brian, won't you want to go tickle its belly? Yes, so it's often like this. It's hard to imagine the pure, raw power of a male lion. Now, if a lioness just happened to swat you with her paw, she's strong enough to snap your neck or your back. If a male lion hits you, he's strong enough that without any cutting blade or anything, he's strong enough that he can hit your head right off your shoulders. So, incredibly powerful animal. So while we wait with anticipation for these Birminghams to do something, let's jump across to Sam to say goodnight.
Earth has been here for over 3.8 billion years. And so there's so much that we have to learn from the genius that is within it all. So as we sit here looking out at the moon, let's take some time to think about the day that we had, whatever we did for the Earth, to think about how we can have an influence in the planet that isn't so impactful, and how we can write a signature that can be left for generations to come, that shows that we have a harmonious connection with the natural world. With that, it's been great to have you all out here this afternoon. Dave and I have thoroughly enjoyed it. Hopefully we'll get to see you all in the morning and enjoy the last few minutes with the Birmingham boys.
So we're still sitting here, and unfortunately, Not even the flicker of an eyelid yet. But one needs to be patient with big cats. We've had a head lift up to the right. Come on, give us a roar. I think the last time I saw these guys roaring, they were so lazy they didn't even lift their heads. They roared while they were lying flat down on the ground. Excuse me. So I don't think these guys are going to do anything before the end of the safari this evening, unfortunately. But we will wait it out to the very last second in case they do. And the report of those 5 lionesses, oh, there's a yawn, moving towards this area is quite exciting. So maybe the Nkahumas will be with the Birmingham boys on tomorrow morning's sunrise safari. Yeah, so just getting the light in the right place. And it's going to be Sam and James escorting you through the bush in the early dawn. I'll be out there wandering around, tracking, hopefully helping them to find some animals. Oh, there was movement. A slight move of the head. Eyes are open. And look at those piercing eyes. Always like they seem to stare straight through you. He smelled something, just sitting up and sniffing. Unfortunately, here comes a nice big yawn. Fortunately, I don't think we're going to get too much more action out of them than that. But thanks for joining us on this evening's Sunset Safari. It's been an absolute joy having you with us, and we look forward to doing it again and again. So from Brian and myself and everyone else here, toodaloo, and have a look at a lion.